Hey everyone, today I wanted to do an update video of my homemade moss pole that I planted this philodendron on a few months ago, I guess at this point. It was much smaller at the time when I planted it, but as you can see, it's doing really well and has rooted itself in a number of places into the moss pole. It's actually doing way better than the store-bought moss poles that I have. So I think I'm going to need to continue this. So again, not that it looks the best, but it's held up really well. And the size of, I'm shocked at the size of the newest leaves because it's able to have something to attach to. The leaves continue to get bigger, as opposed to some of my other moss poles. I'll show you one in a minute, where as it gets to the top, it's kind of rejecting the moss because it's too tight. And I guess in this, because it's looser, the roots are able to kind of easily dig themselves in. Let's see if I can show you some other examples. Yeah, they're just digging themselves in there. So I imagine this next leaf is going to be pretty big too, but it started out much smaller than this. Then you can see a second leaf is also coming out on a different stem. But yeah, it's doing pretty fantastic. So I'm really happy with this choice. So thank you to those of you who voted for that plant. It is hidden a little bit here. I'll show you where it is, behind all of my elephant ears. So it's getting some indirect sun, so it's able to get some sun through this angle, but a lot of it is blocked by some plants. So some good indirect light there. Before these were here, there was a little bit of burn marks on some of the leaves. Actually, you can probably, I wonder if you can still see at the end. So you can see that end of that one leaf in there had a burn spot that obviously came off, probably from it being in the sun after the rain. But this slightly shaded space is perfect. But let me show you another example of a store-bought moss pole and what's happening with that. All right, so here we have another example of a philodendron on a store-bought moss pole. This one I believe is a tripartite. It could also be another version, but it's got the 3 lobes there. But either way, we've got a store-bought version, and you can see that this is pretty tight in here. So it's not as loose as the moss that I placed into the moss pole. And it's not really about it that much. I've tried to kind of snake it around there. It's, you know, connected in a few places, but it's not really digging itself in the same way. And you can see that, yeah, up top here, not really. Although I try to, when I water it, I try to wet the pole. It doesn't work out so well. And then even you can see these new roots. Oh, these new roots are shooting out, but they're shooting away from the pole rather than into it. And if you can notice with the leaves, we seem to have some bigger ones here, and then slightly smaller as we're moving up, and then the newest one looks pretty small. Because we have, again, the roots shooting away from rather than toward the pole. So it seems like homemade poles with looser material for the roots to grab onto might be the way to go. So that's likely what I'll do moving forward. And here is another example of a store-bought moss pole. And we see the same thing happening. So my largest leaves are probably kind of in the middle here, actually. And then they're starting to get a little bit smaller, slightly smaller on the top. So while they do have something to wind around, I am needing to connect them with like twist ties, as opposed to them really connecting themselves with their air roots. So again, really basic connections, but they're kind of the looser pieces on the outside. They're not really attaching themselves all the way inside like I would like. So I think I might have to give up on these store-bought ones. They are so much easier to just buy them, especially if you get them off Amazon where they're cheaper. But I am now really starting to see the difference between the store-bought ones and the homemade ones. I do have one more example of a homemade one here. So same kind of idea, the loose moss. And you can see with this one, you know, even the newest leaf, oh, yeah, it's going going right toward it. Hadn't quite attached itself yet because it just got these roots, but it's already inside. These roots are reaching inside. These ones not quite, but you can see going down that the roots are generally moving into the moss. Here they're fully in the moss. And the leaves are getting bigger as they go up because of this. Yeah, this one's fully attached also. So yeah, these homemade moss poles are kind of ugly, but make the plants grow very nicely. So it looks like I need to start to make some more.